Yeah. Oh, hello there.
Watching, yeah. Phil, are we live? Okay, guys, welcome to Wednesday. It's 1 o'clock, like right on the dot. You know that never happens. This is Real Simple Cooking School. I'm your host and teacher, Dawn. We have a special guest today. Chef Grant Crilly, co-founder of ChefSteps, is here to talk about his very favorite ingredient. I don't know if you can guess what it is. We'll get there in 1 sec. Grant, thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Real quick, Grant, let me take you through the rules. We have 2 rules here.
Rules.
Yeah, there's 2 rules here on Cooking School. First, we wash our hands.
Okay.
Second rule, we play nice. Please stay chill in the chat. This is a constructive teaching kitchen, and we aim to keep it that way. If you don't have anything nice to say, go bark up someone else's page. Let's keep it nice, right? We're here to cook. We're here to learn. We're here to have a good time. Sound okay?
Yeah, I love it.
Okay, great. So, Grant, we asked, Grant, what's the one ingredient you can't live without? And you said?
Onions.
Onions. So we're going to play with some onions today. Grant knows way more than me about onions, so I'm just going to kind of like feed him some questions, and he's going to tell me what to do.
Not an onion farmer or anything, but
he's not an onion farmer. He's not. This is not Spawn.
Yeah.
Not SpawnCon. But let's talk about some of the different types of onions.
Totally.
We have a bowl full of like pretty common types here. Those are common too. So why don't you tell us about these? We've got a white. Actually, let's back up for 1 second. Let's start with like the regular old yellow onion.
I think we have. I cut his head off. Here's a couple.
Cut his head. Okay, yeah. Let's talk. This is like the yellow onion. You get it in a bag often. I see that you actually didn't ask for these specifically.
Well, I mean, there's so many kinds of onions.
Yeah.
So instead of asking for, all like 178 types of onions,
Fair.
I just said, let's get some onions.
Okay.
I figured you'd grab a few. And yeah,
Okay,
we got little plain yellow ones, sweet ones, white ones, red ones, green
Sweet
onions.
ones, white ones, red ones, green ones.
Yep.
And these are sort of your like
You see these everywhere.
regular storage onion.
You see shallots too.
Shallots.
Pearl onions.
We don't have one in here, but you guys have seen me deal with a shallot before. So take us through real quick. This is a sneak preview of what's going to happen. Take me through like your favorite application for each of these.
Sure. Well, one of the things I love about onions in general is you can do anything with them. They're super versatile. You can use them as a main ingredient or a flavor builder or a texture modifier. You can roast them, you can grill them, you can fry them, make them crispy, make them tender, crunchy, pickle them. Super, super versatile. As far as these onions go, the only way I think about it, and I think most chefs think about it this way, is sweeter to maybe more pungent. And I would say they probably go in about this order of sweetness to pungency. Is that me?
Silence your telephone.
Wasn't me.
Rule number 3.
Off.
We're
Cool.
good. We're good.
I dropped some stuff.
Reference materials and receipts.
Reference materials. That's my script. No, so these are basically sweetest to least sweet. I don't know where these go. They don't have a lot of sugar in them. But yeah, somewhere down here. Like this, holds all the carbohydrates, and this is all fiber, so whatever. But you can pretty much do anything with them. These, I think, are, in general, they're very sweet.
This is a sweet onion, so like
Yep.
Walla Walla,
Very
Vidalia.
Yep.
There's some other like aggressively branded sweet onions. You'll see the stickers and like a happy onion face. That's what we're talking about.
Like this big fat.
Shorter, squattier.
I feel like that's a good rule of thumb too. That I don't know if this is totally true, but in my experience, the squatter, more disc shaped, the sweeter.
Yeah.
Yeah, even if it's a small one or a big one.
And you guys have maybe seen like Cipollini onions or like the mini of this.
Yeah.
He looks like like about this thick. Super tasty, get really sweet when cooked.
So these guys, again, they're good for anything. Here's one of the other practical reasons I love onions. If you want to work on knife skills or if you just want to, practice cutting, they're super cheap.
Yep.
So when things are really cheap, I like it. And it's just one of those insanely versatile ingredients. You can do anything with them. You can get any texture, pretty much any flavor. Again, they can be a complement or a main flavor. Even like as a main ingredient, it sounds a little crazy, but a sous vide or even an onion tart where you stew them all. You add a little egg and make an onion custard. It's like a sweet onion custard. It's super good. Mostly onions. Some people find onions offensive, but I really love them.
Well, and one of the tips that Grant pointed out, sort of as we were getting ready for this thing, was a way to treat raw onion, which is a hot tip, which is just soaking it in some cold water for a little bit.
Yeah.
And that'll kind of mellow that raw bite.
Yeah. So sometimes if you only have a spicy white or spicy red onion and you don't want it to be so sulfuric, you can slice it up, put it in cold water, ice water, even a little salty water, and then just drain it and do whatever you're going to do with it. Saute it, pickle it, grill it.
Great.
Doesn't matter, yeah.
Now, where'd my knife go?
I took it.
No, but the other one.
I put it down here in the do not use pile, right here.
Oh,
Is that one or a
boy.
different knife you're looking for?
This will be fine for right now. Okay, so let's talk about, we're going to make 3 different things today, which I think really do kind of showcase the versatility and breadth of the allium here. So first we're going to do this onion cream, which is essentially like a heavy cream, a non-dairy heavy cream substitute.
Yeah, for finishing things.
For finishing
Yeah,
things.
the only thing you can't really do with it is like whip it. But anything you're going to do with cream, you can pretty much do with this.
Okay, so let's show them how to do it. And it's vegan, not even...
For those of you into that.
Not even the, whatever, takes all kinds. Okay,
The other one.
so you want to go sweet for this?
So it's a good question. It's a preference thing.
Okay.
I like the sweeter ones. The other thing too is as you break down the carbohydrates when you cook things,
Yeah.
like all vegetables, but especially onions, they're going to get a little sweeter when you cook them. So it depends what you want. I think the sweet onions, they're my favorite onion for the cream.
Okay.
Because you can always add lemon and cut it down. But it's just a really nice, subtle flavor.
And you think about, I mean, we call it sweet cream. It's sweet when you taste it raw, so
Yeah, why not?
kind of a duh thing. But okay, so what are we gonna do with these? A little olive oil?
Yeah, the really simple. I do a squeeze, and here's one other thing. They have the. This is actually the top of the onion. Oh no, sorry, this is the bottom of the onion, the roots. I put the roots down, and the reason why I do that is I find if a chef I used to work with showed me this a long time ago, and it totally makes a big difference. If I stew all these this way, all that sugar and juice comes out, whereas very little comes out this way, because you have to cook them for an hour or so.
That makes a lot of sense.
So they stay a lot
actually.
juicier. They stay a lot juicier.
And
so,
then, does it make a difference if you season these or not really?
I do just a little bit, and I peel off the outside. So here's what I do: a little splooge of oil, and then I get in there and just
Little massage.
Yeah. Yep. And once these are roasted, we're going to peel them. So we're going to have a nice, tender kind of stewed or white interior, and then we're going to have a caramelized exterior. And you can do anything you want with the caramelized exterior, but we're going to separate them.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So let's get these in the oven.
Okay. I'm going to wash my little oily paws.
And then we have, because you guys know I've been better at planning, we've got a couple of swaps for you. I made some, and then Grant made some, and we can talk about the differences.
Yeah, we can blend both of them. Taste
if we want to, or not. But okay, I'm gonna pull Grant here. So I used regular old storage onions when I did it, and you can see since I roasted these, I think this is true, sideways, all this like blackness, I would say is caramelized sugar. Do you agree? Or is it
it's
just
a little
burning?
past caramelized. But
This is what we call it the scorch of the day. And all that means is it's going to require a little bit of soaking, maybe a little barkeeper's friend.
Yeah. No big deal.
But it's not a big deal. Anyway, I use regular storage onions, you can see, and then Grant used the sweet onions, squattier. This is really beautiful. It looks like gold leaf almost. But let's deal with these, and we'll see what's inside.
You want to try something awesome real quick?
Yes?
I brought these all the way from my little rental apartment for this, but if you just even like dip your finger in here, this is just pure onion sugar. It's a nice little gooey caramel.
So you guys, like caramelized onions?
Here, even just
This is what we're
a
talking
little sprinkle of salt. It's insane. It's so good.
It is
Not yummy?
really good and
It's
really
crazy.
sweet.
It's like a little gastrique or something already.
Yeah. Okay. I should warn Grant, actually, you, most importantly, guys, I had a little bit of dental work, so I can only eat soft things right now. So the interior, this will be
We're gonna
perfect.
make mostly soft things today.
Yeah. So, okay, what do I do with the outside?
Here, you can do those ones, and I'll do these ones if you want.
these.
So I just dig into them with my hands.
The French whisk.
Yeah, the French whisk. I've never heard that. I like that.
That's good. You can have it.
I'm going to use that. So this is what I'm going for. I'll cut
Okay.
this top off here.
Is there any reason you need to keep it whole other than
Nope.
showmanship?
Nope.
Okay.
I'm just trying not to mix it into the caramel. So here's the thing. I want to make an onion cream. I want it to be really white.
You do want it to be really
so
white.
it's just nice and pretty.
Mine might be a little more brown.
That's okay.
But it's
More
okay.
flavor. More flavor. So I find if you...
Those who know me find this very amusing. Okay.
Here, I'm going to just throw my hunks in here. And they're super tender because realistically on the inside it just steamed. You know? So that's just a steamed onion, a self-steamed onion.
What are some other things I could do with this steamed onion?
The actual steamed part?
I just think like this is kind of yummy and
cool.
So
good.
So like what are some other things I could do with that if I didn't want to make onion cream?
I mean, you could add that to any soup right now, like puree it in if you want a little bit of sweetness or a little bit of funkiness. You could add eggs. One thing, it sounds a little gross, but it's so good. It's a little bit savory. You've had like, I'm blanking now, the little Japanese custard. If you puree that with a little egg and maybe even a little bit of milk, and you bake the custards, put a little soy sauce on, it's insane. Yeah, it's like sweet onion creme brulee almost. It's really, really good.
That's
really good.
Something to sell.
Yeah. Right?
Yeah, we're selling it. Coming soon to realsimple.com. Okay.
So I'm going to do all these guys. But check this out. The outside, I'm going to throw them. You have, and that's maybe something to note
some
with.
Here.
These ones are peeling a little bit nicer.
Yeah.
I roasted these ones real long and slow. But this inside that I don't want to put in the onion cream, if you just like mix it back into like the dark stuff, it's insanely good, yeah. And you can use it for something else. A salad, put it on steak, you know?
Oh, a salad.
Yeah.
Nice.
So again, going back to the whole onions are cheap, which for the most part they are as far as groceries are concerned. I don't need to throw all this away. It doesn't really concern me if I do, but that part's for white cream. This part would be amazing on steak or pork chops or something.
Also, I will say onions are one of those things when you're like, we don't have anything to eat. Like, yes, you do.
Let them eat onions. Yeah.
You can look at like all the things you can do with like a couple of onions is pretty cool. And I've talked about this before, I'll say it again, but like when the snow is coming, when the hurricane's coming and you see everyone at the grocery store like freaking out
buying
with the carts like this, it's like, guys, I know you have things to eat at home. And I'm not just even talking about like onions and flour and rice. I'm talking about like chips and popcorn and like cheese, eggs. So like, don't panic. But another reason to keep onions around.
Yeah, so that's the other beauty, right? They last forever.
Forever.
A cold, dark place, you can store them for years almost. Yeah, it's insane.
Now, talk to me, if an onion sprouts, what are my options?
I don't have a problem with that. Okay. So a sprouting onion, it's trying to grow, it's trying to reproduce. So usually onions are pure carbohydrates, so they're a food storage for the plant, right? The seeds are way up here on the flowers, but all the energy storage is here, so that's why there's so much sugar. That's its storage, just like a potato is, it's all starch. They're both carbohydrates. But for an onion,
that made a lot of sense.
Well, when it's turning green, it's like, this is my last chance, I'm ready to go, and I'm gonna make some more onions, I'm gonna start to seed. So what it's going for is I see light, so I'm gonna go for it, I'm gonna make flowers, I'm gonna make seeds.
Guys, the science!
Right, I mean,
it's so good.
I am an onion farmer. So anyways, when they green, it will start taking a bunch of energy out of the onion and put it into the green. So the onion will start to get spongy and soft. It won't have a crispness. So you kind of want to stop it in its tracks.
Okay.
The greens will be really amazing. Otherwise, you'll be left with less usable onion because it starts to pull a lot of energy out of the onion into the green as well.
Actually, that's a good question. So I can use the sprout. Anywhere I would use like a green onion or...
Oh yeah, because that's, essentially what it is, right?
Right.
They're just slightly different breeds, but at the same time, like this green onion top is going to taste pretty much identical to a Vidalia green onion or a red green onion top. They'll be a little bit fatter usually, but they're amazing.
Okay, don't get rid of your sprouted onions.
Yeah, just use it like a green onion.
Okay, so we've got the steamed, essentially, sweet onions in the blender.
Yep.
We're gonna add a couple of things.
A little bit of onion juice.
A little bit of onion juice.
Or sorry, what is it?
Lemon juice. I was like, I don't know what that is.
My brain's a little fried. I'm gonna add a little bit of salt. So here's the thing, you can season this to where it's just super good. It's like a soup.
Yeah.
It just depends how you want to use it.
Yeah.
So I usually season it a little bit less aggressive, so it's more versatile later. So a little less salt, a little bit less acid.
And you guys remember we've talked about that. You can always add more. It's
Yep.
harder to take it away.
Totally.
So, you know, don't be shy, but you can add.
Yeah. Sometimes I add olive oil. Sometimes I add neutral oil too.
Okay.
I'm gonna add neutral oil in this one.
Neutral oil being vegetable,
Yeah.
canola, safflower, that kind of thing.
Grapeseed, something like that. Are we cool with blending?
We're cool with blending. It's actually a pretty quiet blender.
Is it? There's 20 buttons here. I think I learned how to use it earlier. Here we go. Just a second. Okay, so let's look at the texture.
And it is super white and frothy.
So
Like whiter even than cream, I would say.
it's pretty.
Cream, I think, if you guys have seen, has often like a blue or yellow cast, just like breast milk. It's super good. And really,
comment.
really sweet.
Yeah.
Really sweet.
I'm gonna add a speck of salt, maybe just a little drop of acid, and I'm gonna add a little bit more oil. The oil's, again, neutral oil. It's gonna thin it out. It'll make it a little bit whiter, because the blender's gonna add air as it emulsifies, and that's what makes it whiter. But I wanna thin it out a little bit. It's a little bit like onion puree.
So what should people look for when they're
Well,
testing it? Should it?
I mean,
like,
you just tried this. This could be a pretty awesome soup. You
Yeah.
throw like a poached egg on it in a bowl, and it's gonna be amazing. And for those who are just watching, you can't taste it, but it's not a really strong onion
No,
flavor.
it's
It's real
very
sweet
mild.
and subtle, yeah. But I want to use this as a cream, so I just want to thin it out so it kind of moves and acts like a cream.
So pourable. So take a spoon, dip it in. It should slide easily off the spoon. And how long will this keep?
I don't know. Good question. Until it goes bad, I don't know. Real simple.
Which is, well, here's the thing.
What do you
and
guys
I
have a
find-
rule? I would say a few days in the fridge, easily. Maybe a week. I don't know.
Well, here's the thing. USDA will say get rid of anything pretty much at 4 days. This is just what I've learned being
Yeah.
here.
I don't do that.
I keep everything for like a week,
Yeah.
10 days.
I do the sniff test.
And then you just like get it really hot and you're fine.
Oh, that's always fine, yeah. If you just heat it up again, you're golden. I'm gonna
Heat
turn
it
on
up,
the
you
blender for
kill
just
everything. Okay, blend.
maybe 20 more seconds. Going for very smooth, velvety smooth. All right, we'll call that good, huh? Why not? That's pretty.
Really pretty. Phil, come see. Super white and creamy. You guys can see it like drips off the spoon really easily. I'm not left-handed.
If you wanted to be
See?
hardcore about this and make it like 3 Michelin-starred velvety smooth, you could add an egg yolk or a little more oil, and that'll emulsify it. You could add, you guys probably don't use xanthan ever, a little speck of xanthan. It's also a veggie product. I'm not gonna do that though.
Yeah, we keep
Look
it
at this.
simple.
It's fine the way it is.
It's delicious, it's beautiful, very simple.
Yeah.
That was what, 3 ingredients? No salt?
It's pretty darn good though.
Pretty good.
I'm
Okay,
proud of that one.
let's set that aside. We'll show you what to do with that in a second. Now we're gonna make onion Krispies.
Okay,
Let's cheat a little and show the finished product.
I love these.
Okay, yum. We haven't really made fried shallots around here in a while, but I have done it. So reading your instructions, same way I would do it. So talk us through how we're gonna do
Sure.
it. And can I slice something for you?
Yeah, you can use a knife or a mandolin, and I would do red or white onions.
How come?
Because usually when you're frying something, the more simple sugars or simple carbohydrates, the more prone it is to not only burning, but it'll be chewy rather than crispy, you know? So we want less sugar.
Interesting.
Yeah, we want
Okay.
less sugar in our onion.
Okay, got it.
So it almost doesn't matter. The main thing for doing this is you want to try to get them all the same thickness.
Okay,
Because
and
that's where a mandolin's handy.
yes, let's do it.
Because you have one that's maybe starting to get really dark and the other one's so raw if it's 5 times as thick.
And how thin am I going? Like as thin as possible?
No,
Or?
I mean, because you can go so thin and they fall apart.
Yeah.
So thinner is more difficult. So let's go like, I don't know, a couple millimeters or something. Like that's fine.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Guys, this is an inexpensive mandolin.
They're my favorite though, actually.
Yeah, mine too. This is a Ben Renner. This is what I have at home.
Don't buy the expensive French ones.
Other companies that I love and who will remain unnamed, say that 20 times fast, here sell very, very big ones that look like the fancy French ones.
Oh my God.
I don't know
They're
who
$250
has,
or $300
I don't know
crazy.
who has room for that. These are inexpensive. They stay sharp. I mean, like, I don't really take great care of
They're
mine.
light.
It's still
Throw
sharp.
them in the dishwasher.
Throw them in the dishwasher. But this is, as Grant said, a great use for super even slicing. Use it for onions, use it for cucumbers, use it for potatoes if you're making like scalloped potatoes, potato gratin, something like that. So invest in this. And it also like makes your weeknight cooking so much easier. I know that knife skills are a thing that can slow you down. This speeds it up.
Yeah, they're pretty
Watch.
awesome.
Or don't. Don't watch too. Now, here's the other thing. If you get nervous, which once you've cut yourself a few times, you might.
Find an adult.
Find an adult, or grab it with a towel. I would say if I'm doing this again, I would have left the root on and give me a little more stability.
Also, the other thing, again, here's the cool part about having cheap onions. Like, don't stress about using the whole darn onion.
Yeah.
Like, when your fingers get sketchy close, just like, okay, I'm done.
I'm done.
Yeah.
Is this
Definitely
enough
onions.
to show?
Sure.
Okay,
Good.
cool. So we're gonna fry these up. Couple of hot tips. Phil, you want to come back here, or you just want to reach over? He's coming around. Okay, Grant, let's get going here.
Yep.
I'll bring. I'm gonna move this. Oh, look, he's just gonna do it.
Yeah. We'll
Okay.
just throw them in.
So you notice that Grant did not heat up a pot of oil and then throw the onions in. Instead, starting the onions with cold oil. How come?
Well, yeah, a couple of reasons. One, I find that starting with hot oil, they tend to souffle and break apart. For onion Krispies, you know, because the whole goal here is we're just trying to totally dehydrate them.
Cover?
Yeah, yeah. And the other reason I usually just start with this is I want to use the least amount of oil as possible, so just cover it. And two things here. You don't want to fry these super hot. And if you fry them at a real low temperature, a little bit longer, you get a more even crispy, and the oil tastes super good. So you can use that for a salad or chicken or searing a piece of chicken or whatever.
It's true, because oftentimes, and maybe even now, we'll see, when you're frying the onion pieces, shallot, whatever you're doing, even garlic, if you're going that direction, will not necessarily fry at exactly the same rate. So you may have to like pull it out here, pull it out there. But that's another reason the mandolin is so good, because the onions are going to cook pretty much at the same rate.
Yeah, I kind of go mandolin crazy at home. I love them.
Mandolin crazy, you heard it here first.
Yeah.
Quick pause. Do we have any questions out there in the universe?
Yeah, some people wondering if it's okay to eat onions raw and which onions you should absolutely cook before eating.
I'm going to say I didn't know it was ever bad to eat onions raw.
Yeah, go for it.
Why, guys, tell us more. Why do you think it's bad
They probably had
to eat
them when they were a
onions raw?
baby, and they were like, ugh, it's gross. And
Like,
now
they're
they just think they're bad.
strong.
Yeah.
They're strong tasting, but they're not bad for you.
No, I think that's one of the reasons why I chose onion when I started thinking about it, is they're so versatile, because you can eat them raw, you can eat them cooked, fried, grilled, whatever.
Yeah, so no need to cook, but you can cook. You guys saw, if you're just joining us, we roasted some onions whole in their skins. They got steamy soft. We pureed them with a little lemon juice and olive oil, salt. With a nice heavy cream substitute. We're gonna use it on some soup in a little bit. Now we're frying up some crispy onion deliciousies. So yeah, what else, Brooke?
Which onions are best on the grill, in your opinion?
Which onions are the best on the grill? Grant, take it.
So I actually like green onions. I grill green onions like crazy on the grill.
Yeah.
And again, you can get like leek or Tokyo negi or something, which is like a skinnier Japanese leek. So I like green onions on the grill, mostly because they only take 2 seconds. And if you put them the other way that the grill goes, they'll never fall in, they'll never fall apart, you know. But you can grill a regular onion too, like wedges or big rings. It's super good. But I mostly do green onions.
And what we've been doing at home is burying onions in embers.
Totally.
That's kind of fun. You
Like
feel
onions like this, and then you peel them after?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's awesome. Like when you're done grilling?
Yeah, exactly. So it's like your dogs, your steak, whatever is off.
Love it.
It's like dessert onion.
Yeah, Totally.
So throw them in the embers. They get like charred and awesome on the outside and kind of like this, but just with like smoky, intense flavor on the inside. Olive oil, salt.
You could blend them and make a smoky onion gravy afterwards too.
There you go. Cream, gravy, whatever you want.
Love it.
Brooke, more questions?
Someone says that they've seen people add flour to onions when doing this
Uh-huh.
to keep it crispy. Is that something that you should be doing, or?
You can. I don't think it's necessary. It will bulk up the onion if you add starch, flour, or cornstarch or something.
Oh, come on.
And it will add a little bit more volume to each onion slice. So they can be even a little bit more crunchy and less crispy if you add flour. It's an option.
And here's something I'll say, just to piggyback on that. Like, we've got a couple like should you, shouldn't you questions here. I would say very often there are no like hard no's in cooking. I would say.
Yeah, just don't put your hand in here. That's
Like,
the hard
don't grab hot things. That's like a good one, good basic. But otherwise, it's a matter of preference and a matter of like what you're after. So we're just making these little onion Krispies here. They're kind of like, you know what goes on the top of the green bean casserole?
So good.
Like homemade version of that. Now, if you did add flour, or say, let's take it a different direction. If you wanted to bread these and make onion rings, talk us through onion rings.
Okay. Onion rings, I would probably do maybe the white one or a regular yellow.
How come?
Well, just for flavor. I mean, I just don't want it's a preference thing. I wouldn't want a super sugary one. And I think these flatter ones, it's harder to get more rings out. You can get rings out this whole thing. So, I don't know. This is just straightforward here, but I like a big thick one too. So, I'm going to go about yay thick, and something like that. And you can do all sorts of stuff here. You can soak them in buttermilk and spices.
And what would the buttermilk do?
Buttermilk, if you have an active buttermilk, it does have some enzymes that will break down that little membrane in here. So you know when you bite an onion and it's stringy, you can do away with that.
Now, is anyone really getting active buttermilk at the grocery store?
Very few people, I think. Very few people.
So don't worry about that.
Yeah, whatever. But then otherwise it's for flavor.
Otherwise,
I mean, they're super tasty, yeah.
But what's interesting here, and I don't know if you're picking up on this, is what like chefs versus, you know, enthusiastic home cooks like all of you. A home cook, we're trying to get dinner on the table. It's supposed to be fun. It's not supposed to stress you out. Chefs, you notice like each choice is deliberate and like has some thought behind it. So just it's something to keep in mind when you're eating out.
Totally.
That someone has put like a lot of thought and perspective into this, and just like a cool way to think about food. And especially, again, back to the onion, all the different things onion can do, and to treat it with a little respect.
You know, that's another thing when you're thinking about, you brought up restaurants, it makes me think of this. Onion's probably that one ingredient that's going to show up in every kitchen, every cuisine. No matter where you go. It doesn't matter if it's Ethiopian, Indian, French, Italian, whatever. You're going to find onions.
So why the swirly whirly?
See how I have little black burnt ones? I over-flavored a couple of them. Okay. But just on the side, because all that fire on a gas range is coming up the side of the pot. So the oil, if you're really to probe it, is probably a good 100 degrees hotter right at the edge of the pot here. So I need to, just to even it out.
Today's episode called Over Flavor. Okay. So, but this is what we're talking about, just agitating a little bit. You don't have to do that if you're nervous. Grab like a slotted spoon. This guy, Baby Spider. You guys remember Ms. Spider. So just agitate it a little bit, and then you can soon use this to strain. You'll leave the oil behind, like Grant said. That oil has extracted all that delicious onion flavor.
Yeah, anything that's fat soluble is now in that oil. And there's a lot of aroma and compounds and all sorts of veggies that are water soluble, fat soluble. Fat soluble ones are in there. And again, that's good because you can fry a piece of fish or chicken in there.
Yum.
Yeah. So I'm coming down towards the end where it's easy to go over.
And that, which is a good point. You want to Just like anything, we've talked about this a lot, the onions will carry over cook. So they're going to keep cooking
Oh, yeah.
even when you bring them out of the oil. So don't actually wait for them to be perfect.
Yeah.
Take them
we'll keep
off
going.
a little bit before.
Yeah. And these guys, what I'm looking for is like how dark is the darkest one and how light is the lightest one. I'm going to jump off
Show
of,
Phil here in the thing.
There you go.
Yeah.
I'm going to just call them good. And they don't seem crispy, so don't be alarmed. They're not going to be crispy right off the bat. You know how when you make hard caramel, it's gooey and then it has to crystallize before it gets crispy.
And you
So
know what?
same thing
That's also same rule applies to granola.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like is a thing that people make experiment with making first. Same thing. There's sugar in there. It's warm. It's just like you. When you're warm, you're more open. You're more loose. When you're cold, you're kind of stiff.
That's true.
Salt.
Yeah, a little salt. And I put it on while they're a little oily so it sticks. When I make these at home, which I do, I make a lot. Because then I just throw them in a big jar and throw them in the cupboard for a while.
Dry storage.
Yep.
How long?
I mean,
You can be honest.
I'm gonna be real honest. I mean, I've had them like months.
Months.
Because they should be salty and totally desiccated, totally dry.
And totally dry.
Yeah.
And guys, look, if you open it up and it smells kind of funky or looks kind of weird, get rid of it. It was only like 30 cents or something.
Big deal.
Okay, so we got onion cream. We have onion Krispies. We're going to do one more thing, which I think might be the most intimidating for people.
You think so?
Well, just because people think they can't eat raw onions, which I didn't think was a thing. But okay, we're going to make a raw onion salad. But Grant's going to show us what to do.
I'll do we can do a red one, yeah.
Whatever you
that
like.
works.
Phil, get in here, watch this slicing.
You can use a mandolin, you can use a knife, it doesn't really matter. I'll get rid of,
Yeah, you can go garbage in here.
I'm gonna go like for perfect little onion goodies, so yeah. Some people go this way. I like the texture of them this way. They're a little more stiff.
I agree. So, but it's not, again, not like a right or wrong thing. It's a preference thing. I also like visually, as you know, like a food stylist in the past life, this is much prettier to me than this. So don't worry about it.
Whatever.
But if you're trying to like up your Insta game, go that way. Pull to pull.
Yeah, here's just, I don't know, this is what I do here. I'll point it at the camera here.
Yeah.
Depending on your knife, you know, this is where those Santokus or Chinese cleaver, they're amazing for this sort of thing because the blade is, you have this much travel room on your knuckles. A little bit smaller knife can be a little bit more work here. And you can go as thin or as thick as you want. I like to go a little bit thinner.
Start slow so they can see what's going on.
But this is what I'm going for here. Should we do a little soak in a little bit of water too?
Yeah, let's do a little soak.
Yeah.
I'm going to compost some of this stuff.
I don't know if you guys do this with knife skills, but especially onions. And so once I get here and I start traveling down, that's a little more dangerous because now the knife's higher than my fingers. So you do this. This is like going to blow your mind here. Boop. Tip it back over. And
remember, flat side down, widest, flattest side down for stability. David, where's the ice? Remind me. In here?
Yeah, and those big thick ones, whatever, I'll throw them in that bowl.
Yeah. Got it. Okay, so raw onion salad. We're just going to soak these in a little cold ice water.
Yep.
And then I think the red was a good choice because it's going to be really pretty.
Yeah.
But you could use white as well.
Yeah, and it'll be beautiful and a little spicy.
Beautiful and spicy. Got it. Avoid sweet or regular old yellow, or not really?
I mean, yeah, I mean, for this sort of salad too, I mean, I would think. So here's what I normally do to give you some context.
Yes.
I'm not usually eating a big bowl of just this salad.
Great point.
This is what I put on soup or a steak or a chicken breast or something like that. But it's, you know, you put a big handful on and it's like a salad on a piece of fish or something. It's really, really good. Yeah.
Ice water, onions go in. It's going to mellow the bite.
Yeah.
And again,
those are going to hang out and mellow.
more of an accent salad than like a dinner salad that we're making here.
Yeah.
But Grant also brings up a good point. You make a couple of like special goodies, an onion cream, a little salad, a crispy, and you add that to your regular stuff, your seared steak, your chicken breast, your scrambled eggs even, and you're like way cooler and better than you were yesterday.
The onion Krispies on an omelet or some eggs.
Wow.
Insane.
Wow.
I think the onion farmers of the US of A should start paying us.
You're going to get a couple of calls.
We're pushing onions pretty good.
Any questions while we're waiting?
Yes, someone wants to know when you were cooking the onions on the stove, was it on a medium temperature or low temperature?
We started cold, so for the fried crispy onions, we start with onions in a pot, and then we add just enough oil to cover, because you just don't need more than that. And the onions actually, when you fry most things, especially vegetables, they shrink in volume as you cook them, so you end up with more onion to oil. But we actually want to fry them on a pretty low heat. And if you fry them on a lower heat, you get a more even caramelization, and you have a better tasting oil. So this isn't waste. I'll use it to fry, even in a day or two or whatever, more onions, or sear a chicken breast, or sear a pork chop, and you have this really sweet onion oil flavor on the meat.
And you would store this just at room temp?
Yeah, throw it in a jar. Yeah, throw it in a mason jar and store it at room temp, yeah.
Let it cool. Remember,
Yeah.
don't mess with the really hot stuff. No grabbing hot things. Maybe that's rule number 3. We don't grab hot things without proper protection.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, so the question was, what temp did we fry the onions? It was like low, medium low, I'd say. But remember, you're the boss of the stove, and you can adjust the heat. So don't feel like, I put it on medium and they got burned. It's like, no, you gotta kind of let the onion
Just don't burn them.
tell you what to do.
Yeah, watch them. Who's in charge of that? You are. Just don't burn them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Brooke, other questions?
Yes, someone wants to know if they cut up their onions and decided to pickle them instead of fry them on the stove, what should they do?
Great question.
I love pickled onions. I made some yesterday for an event we did.
Oh wait, guess what we made last week? Do you guys remember?
Pickles.
Da-na-na.
Oh, beautiful.
Look it. So remember last week when our friend Justin Chappell, whose new book, Just Cook It, is available everywhere books are sold, we had some leftover onion, and so we pickled it in a little vinegar, water, sugar, salt.
Beautiful.
Grant, did I do it okay?
Yeah, those are gorgeous.
Okay.
I love the red onion pigment that comes out when you pickle them. It's so beautiful. Hot pink or magenta. It's gorgeous. So I'm just picking some mint and cilantro for my salad. This is a very, actually the crispy onions was one of the first times I saw the crispy onions was in India. I used to cook in India for a while. And then this salad is kind of common on the side of a lot of, like, if you get a tandoori or all sorts of stuff, you know.
It makes sense. When Grant and I were going back and forth, there was a decent mention of curry, and now it makes sense.
Oh, yeah. I love Indian food. I really do. It's
Now-
so fun and so delicious. It's one of my favorite cuisines.
Mine too. We've got a little bit of cumin seed over there. Do we need
But-
to do anything with that?
No. Oh, sorry. We're going to add it into here.
Yeah, yeah.
But we don't need to do anything with it. You want to toast it?
Yeah, I'll
You can
toast
it. I
it.
mean, it's going to taste better if you toast it.
That's what I mean. But you would throw it in raw?
Yeah, sure. I mean, just toast it. If
Just
you're going to
toast
toast it, I want
I'm
to
gonna
toast it. Yeah.
So, guys, toasting whole spices. Cumin seed, like McCormick makes this, so I know that all of you guys can get this.
Yeah.
Fun fact about me, you could smell McCormick from my high school. Always knew what they were
Oh,
grinding.
funny. Where are they from?
Outside Baltimore.
Cool.
Okay, so some whole cumin seed, but this goes for all whole spices. Toasting them a little on a dry skillet will really intensify their flavor, and I'm going to show you how to do it. Phil, come on back.
Waking up the cumin.
Now, I made a little soup for us, and I actually happen to have some cumin and coriander in there. But I'm just going to do like that much, and hopefully Grant thinks that that much is okay.
Perfect.
Yeah, perfect. And I would say this is like medium low. And I'm just gonna like give the skillet a shake every once in a while. This doesn't take that long, and like the return on investment is huge. So you're gonna get so much flavor out of these seeds. I can smell it. People in the room, can you smell it? Nodding, affirmative. doing
Love it.
good. I'm doing good. So just another vote for buying your spices whole. And once you get in the habit of doing it, it like kind of changes everything. And then you keep your mortar and pestle out near the stove and you're like, oh wait, this recipe calls for ground cumin. Boop, ground, and you're good to go. And it just makes everything taste so much better. But don't worry about it. Remember, all of these things, suggestions, this should be fun. This should not stress you out. Are you pleased with this, Chef?
Yeah, those are beautiful.
Okay, great. Phil, meet me over there.
You can dump them here.
Dump them right here.
Yeah.
Ooh, this is pretty. What an interactive way to present a salad to your guests. Any other questions out there before we kind of head on home here?
No, people are just brainstorming other ways that they can use these onions in their dishes.
Oh, I want to hear some of that.
Yeah, what are some of the ideas, Brooke?
They're asking you guys.
Oh!
Well, the crispy onions, we're not talking about how to use those that much. These, again, I don't know if you guys have had like furikake or, you know, the little Japanese Krispies. There's all sorts of flavors and uses. You can, you know, add breadcrumbs to these. You can add other seeds and spices, like flaky salt, and have a jar of like crispy topping. To your point, you can put it on green bean casserole. You can put it right on a steak. You can put it on
Pasta.
Yeah, pasta.
Simple bowl of rice.
One really hardcore thing I love to use these with is I mix them with parsley. I mean, you could do it with these too. Throw some of these in here, and you add like a little. Sounds crazy, but a little meat demi or meat jus, just like to make it sticky.
So
and
like
you put
meat,
that on something.
like the reduction, like sauce.
Yeah.
Meat sauce.
Meat
but
sauce.
not ragu.
Yeah, like the little
To
sticky
clarify.
French demi or something.
Which you can actually buy often in the refrigerated section of your more well-stocked supermarket.
Buy a refrigerated one or a frozen one of those.
Yeah.
The canned ones or dried ones are just, I think they're not that awesome.
Okay, sorry, I interrupted you. So you mix the Krispies with parsley.
We could do that right now.
We don't have any demi-glace here.
Oh, no, I mean just add them into this salad.
Oh, okay,
Like
yeah.
we can add the raw onion and the crispy onion, and it'll be super insane texture experience.
Yum.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got a crispy onions. We have several uses for that. The raw onion salad. I feel like we kind of covered that.
Yeah. I mean, raw onions are good with, I think, almost everything. And you can just throw them in a little bit of your normal salad, you know, for a little bit of spice.
I'm a big raw red onion, especially. I'm a big red onion fan. Those of you,
Yeah, a lot more mellow.
how soft is this? My dental work.
Oh, really? Is that too hard?
Oh.
Still a little
Like
heat,
a
though.
lot
Huh?
more. It's definitely like actual heat. Like heat like cayenne. Sorry. But a decent amount of sweetness. I'm not gonna test it next to the just like raw red onion right now, just because I have to like be at work for a little while longer.
Reading around people.
Okay, and then let's talk about the onion cream. We're kind of back in onion cream land.
Okay.
We're gonna finish a soup. Let's check on this.
I'm gonna finish this while you're not looking then. A little squeeze of lime, little zerp, olive oil, salt.
Wait, you did do olive oil?
Yeah, on this
Hey,
salad.
I wasn't sure.
No, on this salad.
Yeah.
Yeah. And again, more of a garnish salad, but this is insane on any of your little meaty surprises. Yum.
Meat surprise.
Yeah, I don't know, like whatever you're gonna cook tonight. That.
And
I
so
love that.
beautiful. Guys, this is super simple. It really doesn't take any like special skill.
Just mixing by hand.
French whisk. Best tool in the kitchen. Okay, should we have some soup?
Yeah.
Now, I would say we could have all of these things on the soup.
Totally agree.
Okay, so guys, this simple pureed soup, we have lots of pureed soup content on realsimple.com. Brooke can maybe drop one of the links. This is onion, believe it or not, garlic, a little cumin seed, coriander, and a pound of carrots. little bit of chicken stock, simmer until everything's really soft, and you blend it, and that's it. Easy. I'm gonna use a ladle. It's my new fave. It's
You're into ladles right now?
It's designed for this.
Ladles are so in right now.
You know, I've been using.
It's designed for this.
It is.
Yeah.
I've been using, you know, a 1 cup measure. I'm a grown-up, and I just got a ladle. Thank you, Mom, for that generous gift. I'd say this is maybe like a tad thick for my taste, but that's okay. You guys, when we say adding water or stock to reach your desired consistency, that's what we mean. If you like it this thick, great. I've been served soup made by friends that was like mashed potatoes. Their preference, their kitchen, I ate it with a smile, it was great. But I might thin this out just a little bit. But I think that Grant is gonna humor me and pretend he likes it no matter what.
It looks pretty good.
Because he's my guest.
Yeah.
And that's what we
And
do.
I have to like it.
Okay, we got carrot soup. We got onion cream on the tippity top.
Cool. You want to
Go for it.
Yeah, so, I mean, everybody's gone to, you know, little restaurants and they have little cream on their soup or something, but yeah. Just put whatever much you want, you know, and it's not cream, it's not fatty, so you could actually put equal parts
As much
soup
as you
and
want.
onion cream. It's crazy.
But a
You wanna
ton
do
of
these two?
flavor. Yeah, I think
Why
so.
not? Right? It'll be pretty, like, just like that.
So remember, we've got raw onion soaked for a little bit of nice water.
It's like the ultimate onion dish now.
Yeah. Onions 3 ways with a side of carrot.
It works.
And then some of the crispy Krispies.
I love the Krispies. I'm all about the Krispies. I'm just going to put them here. Mix
Yum.
them into this little guy.
Any questions before we go? But this is kind of like a gorgeous, if I do say ourselves,
Onion cream.
a gorgeous way to use a really humble, inexpensive ingredient. Bonus onion content right here for the pickles.
Yeah, buy some onions because they last forever in your cupboard anyways, right?
Buy some onions,
Yeah.
slice and dice, make French onion soup if you want to put all of that to use. But this week's homework, buy some onions, slice, dice, chop, do whatever you want, and show me what you made with them. Don't forget to tag it, Ours Cooking School. We'll see you back here next week with another special guest. It may end up being like guest month. But anyway, have a great day. Happy spring, Grant. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Guys, check out ChefSteps for more great ideas from Grant, and we'll see you next week. So long. I'm going to try it.